The Mystic Meals Podcast.
The Mystic Meals Podcast.
With your host, Chef Nikki Meow. We talk about food, life. Oh, and we also talk about...
Oh, yeah!
Baby. You better be ready. Right now, here's your host, Chef Nikki Meow. Get it, baby.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to another deliciously awesome and terrifying episode of the Mystic Meals Podcast with me. I'm your friendly neighborhood homegirl, Chef Nikki Meow, and on this episode, I am so pleased to have returning with me director and author and maniac Meow, Mr. Hilton Ariel Ruiz. He was on my show years ago promoting his cult film, Zombie with a Shotgun, and now he's back with a vengeance, promoting his new graphic horror zombie saga called Puerto Rico of the Dead. Yes, Puerto Rico of the Dead. It is basically about a Puerto Rican American who returns to the motherland only to find that things have gone absolutely awry. What happens when you try to reconnect and then you find out that everything is just not what it was, and there's zombies everywhere. What happened? Where's my family? Where's my friends? I don't know, but we're about to find out. So let's jump right in with Mr. Hilton Ariel Ruiz. Meow. Hola, monsieur.
Hola. What's going on?
Hola. What's going on, brother? How you been, Mr. Hilton Ariel Ruiz? How's it going?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me in the show. And yeah, I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I'm doing okay, man. I'm hanging on, hanging in, as are we all. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, I know. Things is a lot of things are strange now, especially in our field. There's this, the landscape of the entertainment world, it could be for anything, but obviously for us, for being in the entertainment world, the landscape has shifted and has evolved in a way that it's crazy. Yeah. It's gone to the point that it's either you're going to catch that wave, that train, get on it, and it's interesting. I'm not, I'm trying to figure it out myself. But yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think we're all kind of, just creating our own opportunities at this point. Because, it's everything has changed so much, as you said, with the industry and just the way things work. I think, especially here in Los Angeles, there's definitely a huge identity crisis going on with it. I think it just kind of lost its footing. Everyone's trying to get it back. We're kind of in this weird shift in influencer culture as well. I'm noticing kind of the pullback from that a little bit as well. I think people are just tired. They're just tired of the madness. And I think people want something new, but something real, something that they know is genuine and authentic, from the creator. Right. And that leads me into your purpose for being here, which is your latest project, which is Puerto Rico of the Dead, which I feel really kind of speaks to the parallels of what's happening all around, just in every field, every realm. So I'm really keen to hear your thoughts on that, what led you to it, and just tell the people what it's about.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, look. You know me and everyone's known me from doing Zombie with a Shotgun.
Yes.
I've been doing it for so many years. And, I'm still working on, developing new things for Zombie with a Shotgun. But I've always had this idea to do, because we had so many, Night of the Living Dead and this and that. And I said to myself, my God, would it be such a great idea, a great show, a great book, great novel, whatever, would be something about Puerto Rico of the Dead. I said,
yes.
No one... And I was so shocked that no one has ever taken that title.
Really gone there, yeah.
And I'm like, how's no one has taken that title? Puerto Rico's so popular and everything. And, I said to myself, I didn't really want to interfere what I was doing with Zombie with a Shotgun. I felt like, if I do Puerto Rico of the Dead, it's going to probably take a little bit of the steam, a little bit of the energy, the synergy from Zombie with a Shotgun. But, the things that's been happening so much in the political world in Puerto Rico and the infrastructure that is like sort of embarrassing. It seems like it's sort of like a living in a zombie sort of world.
Yeah, apocalyptic. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I started I had the idea, and I said, you know what? I think I'm gonna have to do it. I think it's something that needs to be told. A story where, it's not. Yeah, there's zombies, but it's more about what is really going on there. It tells the story of the importance of. To me, the novel is more about, do we stay behind and save the island? Do we save our culture? Do we come here and the survivors to protect the island is so important to protect the culture. And what we're seeing now in Puerto Rico and our people there is that, is disappearing.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like almost a zombie kind of world there.
There's definitely like a feeling of erosion for sure. Yeah.
And who's there to help? Who's there is going to stay there and stick around? What got me fed up? I tell you what really got me fed up. You know how it is in Puerto Rico, right? When your family has property there in Puerto Rico and you have relatives there that's like passed away, and they give. I give you an example. The land is so hard to recover. It's almost a scam.
Yeah.
I give you an example. Like my grandfather passes away. And the land automatically goes to all the relatives, and it's like, and you have all these people fighting for it, and no one really controls it. It's almost like they do it by purpose.
Right.
So there's this big problem in Puerto Rico. There's all this land, this property, these houses are all abandoned because there's no way of trying to figure out what property or where the property goes to.
Right. Like who is the actual owner, who gets to claim. Yeah. Yeah.
And I have that great example for me. Like I have my grandfather, even my father passing away. And my father has three properties there, right? Including my grandfather, right? It's been almost 25 years. 25 years and maybe longer that we can't even get a hold of that property.
Wow.
Because the government there, the real estate rules and laws is like, well, you got to figure it out. You have to. But how can we? Oh, yeah. You have to get this relative
how is it
to sign
on
this.
You to figure it out, right? Yeah.
And it's like, you got to get this relative to sign this, to sign this, to sign this, to sign this. You got to get a waiver. You have to get this notarized. And eventually somebody's going to be like, no, I don't want to know. That's my land. Why? So, and then I started hearing the story over and over. I've been seeing it on social media. I've been seeing it in TikTok, and I'm like, you know what, man? This is a scam. Yeah. It's a racket almost. That to me was like the point of I have to write this book because there's something there that's going on. I think the story obviously is a fictionalized story, but it opens the eyes of of what really is happening there, like what things that are really happening, and that's more of what got me pissed off of the whole thing. And I felt like having this book of Puerto Rico of the Dead can give the attention more eyes to it, and how just like in the media, people complaining how they can give billions of dollars to the war, they can't give $1 billion. They're rationalizing now the days, right? Like for example, 2 days you could get water, another 2 days you can't get. It's just ridiculous.
Right. Like the electricity, the power grid there is just insane. Like you've got the local people climbing up the poles themselves to do the work to fix it, just so that they could have electricity. I mean, it's madness. Yeah.
It's very upsetting. And to me, I had to, say to myself, okay, this is another zombie universe. This is another zombie novel. It's not the same as Zombie with a Shotgun because it's, you know, it's more playful with Zombie with a Shotgun, because there's thing where Puerto Rico the Dead has more of a realistic sort of kind of like vibe of like what's really going on.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I you know, the story definitely takes place, starts off here in New York, family of you know, a Puerto Rican family here that travels to Puerto Rico. Obviously what happens there is the events of something happens there where electricity and everything gets shut down, and you know, we start to slowly figure out what is happening. And there's a mystery in the book of is exactly what's going on now. It's like there's a mystery of what and how has the island got infected. Who's doing what? Who's doing this? Do we find out? Probably not.
Right.
But at the end of the day, as I told you, the book is about survival, about who's going to protect the culture, keep it alive, and not let it die.
Right.
With the zombies. You know, so that's my whole thing. That's my whole goal, the story of just keeping the culture alive. And you know, we're seeing right in front of our eyes. It's slipping. The population's getting smaller and smaller. And that's where I'm at with the whole thing.
Yeah, it's definitely becoming harder to exist there. And I think that it's deliberate. You know, I think it's deliberately not being tended to because there are ulterior motives to the land and the culture. And I mean, we could go on and on about what the theories are, but I remember, like, I was joking with you yesterday about how, like, it's the food. It was the food, because, like, you know how we are about our food, like, we don't play, we don't play. So it's like how would the, like, zombie apocalypse start? Like, you kind of hit them where they live, like, literally, like, with the food that they eat. And, it was, like I said, it was the mofongo, it was the pollo guisado, it was, the plátanos, it was like all the stuff that, like, we love. I mean, that would be like the smart way to kind of infiltrate, and not as obvious, right? Especially with what's going on here. I mean, as with all the food and all that's going on with, the lettuce and listeria and, just the everything. Like, we're just being bombarded left, right, and center with, and now this is wrong, and now that's wrong, and this and that. So I think that there's definitely an outcry everywhere for, something that people can believe in and gravitate towards and understand better than, the Kool-Aid that, people have drank, whether it's been willingly or not. Just kind of, and I think that's really hard for people to come to terms with, is that the things that you were kind of brought to believe about stuff is not true. History has been rewritten so many times that, like, what do we really know at this point, like, really happened, right? So being able to bring a story like this to life and kind of make the connection to Puerto Rico and just bring the awareness, I think, is really important. And you're doing it in a really cool way, because it does speak to us horror freaks out here. And like no one's ever really done that, right? Like, bringing Puerto Rico to life in an undead way.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So So aside from your own frustration with what you've seen happen on the island, like, what were the other kind of parallels that you interjected into the story?
A lot of it also is, for example, it starts off like, again, I feel like, a new generation of Puerto Ricans, and, we're kind of like also fitting in a little bit at the tail end of not knowing the culture, the no sabo kids going and going to not knowing the culture. And there's this whole battle of, like, a lot of Puerto Ricans feel that, not necessarily New Ricans, they're not really Puerto Rican because they don't know Spanish. No sabos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my main character is a no sabo. It takes place in like a new generation of Puerto Ricans that, and and him going to Puerto Rico for the very first time speaks for himself. That it's in his blood that he has. Even though he's a no sabo, that he needs to survive in the island that he's from. Right. His family's from. His blood is from. So a lot of stuff also like the story goes when you mean like parallels, also about how a lot of people say that United States is, it's part of the United States, but sometimes, I'm going to be honest with you. When you go to Puerto Rico, it feels like a third world country. Some areas.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, we're part of the United States, but there's other Latin countries that are not part of the United States that, like, you go there and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so goddamn beautiful. Like,
right.
This is like what happened to Puerto Rico. We're part of the United States, and like, like for example, the book takes place in San Sebastian. That's where my family is from. And that area up in the mountains in Puerto Rico, and over there it's like a third world country. A lot of the whole island is third world country, right? And you have another thing also is like the whole again, I always call it a racket. You have the people that have money here are allowed to live there for 6 months in little change so they can avoid the income tax, right? But who's doing it? Right?
Yeah.
Who's really doing it? The rich people do it. The non-Puerto Ricans are doing that hack.
Right.
Okay? Obviously, you live in Puerto Rico. It's not a hack. You know what I'm saying? Like, they had one time they said that Bad Bunny was doing that. Like, dude, he's from Puerto Rico. He's not using the hack. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm like, that makes totally no sense. I don't know if you remember they made that controversy, like, oh, Bad Bunny's taking the advantage. Like, dude, he's from there. I mean, but meaning like people from here in the States, not from there.
Yeah, I mean, they find the financial loopholes in the most seemingly random places. Yeah, and then they go there and then they sponge off of the land and the culture and they get what they need and then they leave. So there's that also that whole section in the book because there's a lot of characters and we have those sort of set of people. We have like the farmers, the church people, the religion also. Yes. There's a story about religion in the whole book also of, and you have the rich people who are there, who have the beautiful homes, who take advantage of this hack. So, you have all those elements that I've added into the book of the people that are working there. So there's a lot of cool things there. And again, I think what's exciting about the book is that the colorful, of diversity of different, people besides, there are obviously Puerto Ricans come in different shades and everything like that. But there's also other characters that come in and out. And so that's really cool. You it's more to get attached to the character, to resonate with them, to understand them, who they are and how they're going to go and survive in this whole thing that happens. Yeah, like the relatability to different people. Because, I mean, we saw that happen with the Super Bowl. Like, speaking of Bad Bunny, when he performed, like, there were certain people that were just really up in arms about that whole thing.
I know.
I didn't understand that. I was so proud in that moment to see it happen. And not even that, like, in the end, how he represented everybody and he called out every country. Like, this wasn't about just Puerto Rico. It was about all of us and uniting us together. And I think people just it just went over their heads because I don't speak Spanish. Do you have to? No. Like, do you have to speak the language to feel you know what I mean? Like, to feel the emotion from the music. And I mean, it's just like food, like, do you have to be from the place the food is from to understand it? No, if it's good, it's good. So it really kind of brought a lot to light. And I feel like that was kind of a turning point with certain things where people were like, all right, we've had enough. That's enough of that. Okay.
Yeah. And it's interesting also is that, that to me was the most watched Super Bowl, right? And they will complain and argue, but hear me out. They by purposely made another sort of outlet to watch another sort of musical for Super Bowl. Now, just imagine they never had that put in place. How much more people would watch that Super Bowl? But because of that sort of other outlet that was going on, I forgot the outlet that they were doing where it was, but just imagine they didn't have that. Everybody would have been forced. Well, I wouldn't say forced. That's what you do in the Super Bowl. You watch it. Even if you hate it, love it,
you still watch it.
You watch it.
I've seen some crappy Super Bowl performances in my day, but we were all still there and enjoyed it. You know what I mean? And I think for what it was, to like, even if you are unfamiliar with it, to learn something new, to hear it, to see the colors. I mean, I just feel like he represented it so well. Like for me, it was like right as soon as that Piragua cart came out, I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. Like that was like he really went in, and I feel like if you know, you know. And I just thought it was really, really cool how he represented the country, and with respect to everyone that was watching. It was like I said, it was a very proud moment to see. And I was really emotional after that. I mean, like I connected with all of my brown brethren, and I was like just seeing that. I'm like, yeah, like we were all like, damn, man.
Yeah, no,
you know, it was big. It was major.
Yeah,
it was major.
It definitely was. It was like seeing that first time on TV was like, oh man, big.
But that, I think, right, like that right there, that point that because I've been saying that a lot lately with, you know, I think there is a call and a need to have a shared experience where like we're all so like disconnected because of like technology and our phones and, you know, all the social media and all that stuff. But like back in the day, like, you know, you ran home to watch a TV show and then you came out to talk about it. Like everyone was like doing the same thing at the same time, you know, and that regardless was a shared experience that everybody had, and it kind of brought people together. And I think that's what we need more of, is just that, you know, reconnection to ourselves, to where we are, who we are, each other. And that's why I think like storytelling, like what you're doing with the book, is so vital, because it's again kind of like reminding people that this exists and this is happening. You know, yeah, it's a fictional telling, but this is actually based on what's really going on there. So I think it's a really interesting way to grab people's attention about what's happening.
Yeah, and I forgot to mention the military. There's a big sort of backdrop on the whole military and the corrupted government,
right?
And also the corrupted television networks. Mm-hmm. So there's so much going on. You know, this is going to be the first book of, you know, hopefully many. You know, I've outlined of how much that I want to do, but there might be a point that I'm going to end it, and there might be just other stories, separate stories from that, of other stories, people in the island, besides, you know, this first family that experiences this. So it might be like 6 books here, and then a spin-off of something that also has happened in the island with other people.
Okay.
So so that's the cool thing about it. I really wanted, you know, tell the story, have people to read it and to understand that, you know, you're reading this and by saying to yourself, wait a minute, this is also happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is what's going on like right now.
Yeah.
And so when did you start writing this?
I would say after I did Zombie with a Shotgun, I would say, because, you know, Zombie with a Shotgun is been for a while. Mm-hmm. We're almost going 15 years almost.
Yeah.
You see how time flies. I would say about 2019 and 20, when around the COVID a time when I had a lot of like thinking of like, what should I do next? What should be my new story? And that time, you know, like during COVID, you know, there was pros and cons to it. And I think for us artists, it made us kind of, you know, redeveloped or just think back of what can I do differently, what kind of stories. And I was a little bit upset also because I felt that, you know, Zombie was right there. Zombie with a Shotgun was right there with the COVID, it releasing in 3 months after the feature was released. COVID happened, and that got me really upset. And I was like, oh man, after a while, I was like, I don't think we're going to be making films anymore. Let's start writing stories, writing scripts and everything. And that's when the whole thing came to me, like, you know what? Puerto Rico must be suffering with this COVID. This must be really awful out there with the family and everything.
Yeah.
And that's when it started to like, wait a minute, what if there was something called, because I'm a zombie guy. I know about Night of Living Dead, Returning the Living Dead, the
Yeah.
Juan of the Dead, all that, and I was like, Shaun of the Dead, and then I was like, what if Puerto Rico of the Dead? And it started off from there. It started off like, okay, the Puerto Rico of the Dead, writing the outlines, and then I started talking to a lot of people. Started telling people how the island is and what regions, where's the most like rich ports they have there, like the port areas, there's like 6 or 7 main ports that they have, and there happens to be one by San Sebastian. It was up above it, and so there, of course, you have the old San Juan is the main port, and started thinking that what if there was something that came ashore, something that leaked or something. What is there? And you have Vieques also. The whole story about Vieques. What is really going there? What studies are they really were doing that we don't know?
That we don't know about, exactly.
Yeah, we don't really know what's really
been going on under the radar that we have no clue, and then here it is.
Yeah, so it started from there, and then slowly, surely, I think it started going really hardcore. I would say maybe 3 years ago, that's when I started putting things down. And I wanted to like base it on New York, starting in New York City.
Right.
Because there are a lot of elements of the story that is me, obviously, because, I know, the culture, and so a lot of it, there's a lot of elements of me in the story. So that helped a lot. Obviously going to San Sebastian, where my family's from, knowing the area, visiting there, knowing the places there, how long the ride is from going to San Juan, or you're going to Mayo West, the airports, those are the 2 main airports, knowing that sort of like geography of like how far is from Bayamon, from all these areas, because when I used to go, they used to make me drive. I don't know why every time everybody wants me to drive. So I'm always, I guess, because I'm always, I'm not a drinker, so everybody was like,
right, you're the designated driver. Yeah.
So I'm always like drive here. So like starting to understanding the island, driving so many back and forth, and that helped a lot, and so yeah. So I would say like it started like 3 years, starting like really getting into it and trying to figure out, should I pull this out? Because the Zombie with a Shotgun, I've done the feature, I've done the web series, I did the comic books, everything, and I was like, oh no, man, I shouldn't. And then I just said, you know what, it is what it is, man. It's a novel, it's not a film. It's not, it would be great if it was a film, TV series down the line, but as of now, it's a novel. It's a series, and I just said, why not, man? Because again, the landscape again shifted. It's become almost sort of like everyone is sort of like auditioning for an acting role and trying to get the main role, as what everyone's doing is influencer and becoming these, and there's nothing wrong, we've all become that now,
right? And
it's like, damn, now I gotta go with the flow. I gotta go with what everyone's doing, not trying to say what everyone's doing, but we have to make a living, we have to get so very hard to get financing for films, for indie films. I used to be able to take me, a couple people, say, hey, here's money, make a film. Oh, I don't need this money, go do a film. Producers were free, come on board. Said, okay, I got, not anymore. It's done. I can't find anybody to give me money. So
no, I mean, I was, it's a running theme throughout this show when I speak to creatives in the industry, because it's like back in the day, like you said, like you had a valid idea, you did your pitch, you had your meeting, whatever it was, and then people gave you the money. They said, okay, let's greenlight it. Here's your budget. Go make it happen. And now it's just like, they want everything done. Like you have to already have the whole thing done most of the time. And they want to know who's attached to it, who's starring in it. I don't like that person. This person would be better. Even if that person isn't the right person for the role, it's just like, this is who's popular right now. This is who's going to get the attention. So I think people end up compromising a lot more than they would like. But yeah, it's a very, very different landscape now with filmmaking, and it's so hard. And people say that they want to take the risks and they want to do the new thing, but they really don't, because people just keep falling back on what feels safest to do. That's why we have all of these remakes and reboots and sequels to death to death to death. It's just playing it safe, right? Because that's what's gonna, that's what they think is gonna sell. It's hard to break away from the old ideologies.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's there was a time that it looked like it was about to come around. I think also having AI coming on board just sort of like put it even more or hurt into the industry.
Mm-hmm.
And but look, I've always say that every new generation must have something. They'll figure it out. We will all figure out what
Right.
would it come back, what it won't come back. I mean, the only good sign this year was that I think the most movie tickets sold since pre COVID time. The ticket sales are higher than in a long time. So,
Yeah.
So that was the good news. But again, you have so many people out of work.
Yeah.
I can't even believe it. Like how many people, and COVID. People, when COVID happened, the amount of friends that were into the acting and production are no longer in it. It's just amazing. People I talk to and they're like that I've done films with years ago. Is like I couldn't do it. I couldn't afford it. I couldn't live in New York.
No, I mean,
Leave.
most of the people that I know that were from here, they all moved.
Yeah.
They all left. And they went to the small towns, they went to, Tennessee and, or Wisconsin, or, they went further up the Pacific Northwest, or, the Carolinas, the South. Like they just, it beat them up in a way where like they weren't prepared for it, because, that's their life, like that's the industry that they love. And when it's not giving you the opportunities, that you once had, and you're up against so much, like it really does affect you mentally. And like I said, like most of them just jumped ship and said, you know what, I'm gonna go over here and maybe I'll become a big fish in a small pond, and that'll be okay. But yeah, it was sad to see it. But again, I feel like it's just kind of back building a lot. And as with anything, I feel like you have to let things run its course and just kind of hang on as much as you can, and still find another way to be creative, as you've done, with this novel. It's like, okay, well, I still have stories to tell, and I still want to express myself creatively. So how can I do that? While still being a part of it, which is kind of what I went through years ago when I decided to leave the restaurant industry, in the brick and mortar sense. Cause I was like, okay, how am I going to integrate all the other stuff that I've been doing behind the scenes and want to do? And how do I like reinvent that? Right. So it takes a while to kind of get a grasp on like what could work for you there. But at least, you've stuck to your roots as being a storyteller, being someone who likes to, create worlds and, places for people to go to kind of escape the madness, even though you're creating another world of madness. It's just, people love the horror genre so much. It's so relatable, and it's fun, it's campy, it's crazy, but at the same time it really does, there's this like undertone of always speaking to the times of where we are. So having written it now, it's on the cusp of coming out, right? Like it's on the verge of being released.
Yeah, I was going to release it this week. Honestly, truth, with the whole thing with Colombia.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what, I think I'm gonna wait probably another week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see, maybe see how I feel. I just felt like, all right, I'm gonna release this book called Puerto Rico of the Dead, and it's just like, it definitely is gonna bring that sort of title brings attract to a lot of Latinos, and I just like, maybe I'm gonna, it's awful, and I was like, I think I'm gonna hold it for one more week.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can't help the timing of the state of the world and what happens, but it is true that you do need to like read the room and take notes on what's going on,
Yeah.
climate and everything, because, when you do release it, you want to be able to get positive attention, right? Like out on the outset, even though like whatever it is, it becomes, but yeah, like you want to be respectful, right, to what's going on and what's happening. But at the same time, like this is what it is. So,
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah.
I spoke to a couple of friends, close friends of mine, and I was saying, what do you think? And then we all kind of like, you know what? It won't hurt. Wait for a
Right.
week.
Right.
Wait, so I was like, yeah, let's wait for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
nothing wrong with it, man. Nothing
Yeah.
wrong with it. I mean, when things like this happen, I always say that they're redirections, like you're being kind of guided to go that way, or to maybe wait a minute for, you know what I mean? Because again, it's like, it's the timing of it, right? So like you want it to go where you want it to go, and not get kind of lost in the shuffle of the other things that are going on. Because at this point, it's just like, this is day in, day out, like there's always something going on that's crazy, that's blowing people's minds. So it's like, you may as well kind of bob and weave a little bit and be like, all right, I'm going in, like you're playing double dutch, like, all right, it's my turn, I'm jumping.
Yeah.
So, like, and it's good that you have that support and people around you that advise you in that way and encourage you properly, to, make the move at the right time, like when you feel it's a good time to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I had this sort of like little, little animation to come out with the opening of it also. And I'm like, I'm gonna wait a little bit, but again, You're right. I might pull the trigger the next day or two, how I feel. But yeah, as now I was like, all right, let's just wait a little bit. But
yeah,
I'm excited. I think the material can be something where I can get a lot of support from a lot of the Latino / Puerto Rican community.
Yeah.
To talk about it and also talk about the problems that's happening. From the book.
Yeah.
That's happening now. And I think that, if I ever wanted to do anything that had to do with, Puerto Rico, with, this would be something of mine that I would like. It would be cool if I can basically get the attention of what the island really needs, the support. And I think if that can work, I succeeded in doing that with the book.
Right. Well, obviously you've done this with, the utmost intentionality behind it. Like, it's more than just a story. I mean, this is what you're connected to. It's part of your roots and our culture. And it's an important story to tell in a way that, again, connects other people to it and, brings the awareness to what's really happening there, what's been happening, and just how it's not really getting better. Like, there's no let up at this point either. So it's like, what can we do to contribute to its, salvation, saving it, preserving it? And what better way than through a story that kind of captures, like, this vibe of like what was once a beautiful place and still is also being, like I said before, eroded by all of the bullshit that's been going on, for decades. And where does it end? What do we do? How do we stop it? Very much the same tones that are in the story. What do we do? How do we stop it? Where did it come from? Like, how do we deal with this? How do we come together, to solve it? Is there even a way at this point, right? Or is there something new that we need to discover in order to make that happen? So, I mean, I'm excited for you with the story. I jumped on it as soon as I saw it. I was like, Puerto Rico of the dead. I was like, what you talking about? Shit. I did. I was on click. I went right in. I was on, hey.
Love it. Yeah, I love it. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, and I honestly, truth, I've never mentioned it to no one really. Like, none of my, like, I definitely had close friends, but like,
sure.
And it was a surprise for a lot of people. They're like, dude, I was like, where did this come from? Like, why didn't you tell me? I was like, man, I just yeah.
I'm the same. I am the same. I think it's hard because, I'm sitting on so much that I don't talk about. Like, we're always working on something behind the scenes. And I feel like I don't want to talk about it until it's done. Like, it's a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to be like, I'm going to do this and then, like, it takes forever and a day to happen. And then you look flaky, right? To people. But, like, I always pop out with something. And I think people are always kind of surprised because it's never kind of the same, but it's still me. Like, I'm still like representing myself, like, regardless. So I love that element of surprise, kind of catching people off guard with something that, just when you think you got me figured out, no, you don't. No, you don't. Guess what's on the menu today?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. What you thought? You thought I was just a one-trick pony?
I ain't no one-trick pony, honey. Okay. No, I'm not. But I think that's what's so cool about being creative is that the ideas come in from every corner of the universe, and what it kind of morphs into through you as a vessel, no one else can do. Like, no one else can tell the stories that you can tell because it's you. It's uniquely yours, which is even more important for you to continue to do it, regardless of, like, if you feel like no one's going to see it, no one's going to know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm telling you right now, it doesn't matter. Like, when I wrote my book, like, I didn't do it with any other intention other than to work out what I was going through at the time. And I didn't really think about the other things that go along with it until it was done. Like, then it was like, oh, okay, now it's alive. It's a thing. It's a product now. And, oh, I could segue into this. Because now, same thing with you. It's going to be like, what's the merch going to look like? How am I doing that? Like, how else am I going to market it? It doesn't end with just releasing the story, right?
Yeah, that was one of the things, too. I when I first put it out, I'm not gonna lie to you, like, the first time, I put it out on social media that the Puerto Rico, the dead. The very next day I said to myself, what did I do? I can't even, like, maintain what I'm already doing with my projects here that I'm doing, and I just released something that's gonna take, so much time of my life, because it's not just releasing it, it's promoting it, talking about it, getting out of there, getting more ideas, getting another book out. And I just like, oh man, but at the end of the day, we torture ourselves.
We do.
And we love that. And
yes.
I think that's what makes us motivated and makes us continue to do what we love to do.
Right. Well, it's a ballsy thing to do, to create something and just kind of throw it, pull the pin on that grenade and toss it. And when the kaboom happens, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, we can't help it. And I think if we think about it too much, we're not going to do it at all. Because we've got a lot going on. Like, I have a lot going on, and I'm constantly adding more to the buffet. But I want to do that. And okay, I have this little section of time where, it has to be done. It just has to be done.
I know.
So
even I felt like, I was like, oh man, I got to take one day to start, like, going to Instagram and following all, like, Latinos and
right.
Puerto Rican background, start following
It's the
them.
campaign, baby.
Yeah,
you got to build the interest and the intrigue. Like I said, it worked for me. Just on site. I was like, what? I was like, what you doing? Talk about Puerto Rico of the dead. What's happening?
That's it. That's right.
But just the title alone, I think, is like, it's there. It's there.
I love it. Yeah. I appreciate that. I was like, man, this. Again, I'm like, how did no one have this?
Right.
And I'm like, this is, like, ridiculous.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So yeah.
I think because, again, like, people, it's a sensitive topic. It's just like you said, with, like, kind of backing off on the actual release of it. It's like, let me wait a minute. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. Let me just give it a second. But I think that's why people hesitate to pull the trigger on stuff, because they think about it a little too much. It's great that you are being considerate to the situation, as you should be. But at the same time, like when I mean, when
I
when are
get
you
that.
gonna do it? You know what I'm saying? You're gonna wait, and then weeks, if not months, are gonna go by, and then it kind of loses that steam a little bit. Like you kind of have to strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
And I think it's a great time. It's apparently it's been spooky season since the summer started, so it's a good time. You know what I mean? Like right away, it's like June. Everybody's like, "Yay, bats!"
I know that.
It's happening earlier and earlier now, which is great. I love to see it. But around this time is really when everybody starts coming out from the shadows and wants to start, promoting their stuff. So I think it's a really good time for you, especially if you wait until like another week or like towards the end of August, like right before September, when it really jumps off.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit it hard. I think
the timing is really good.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit it hard. Hit all, tag people and hey, look what I got. Check this out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad that you gave me the opportunity again and talk about it.
Of course.
And it's something that could definitely take off, which I hope.
I think so. I think so. I think it's probably going to travel further than you think. And even if it's in smaller ways, because, when I, again, like referring to my book, like when I released it, I didn't know what was going to happen, whose hands it was going to fall into. And there are a couple stories that like I haven't shared openly, but there is one individual in particular who purchased the book and unfortunately passed away. And I didn't realize that he was very, very ill during that time. And the fact that like, he still had hope and that he saw something in it and gravitated towards it. And it became a little part of his last days. Like that's something that I don't take lightly at all. And never in a million years would I have thought that it would have resonated and touched somebody that way. And that's why I advocate for this. And why I do this podcast is to kind of uplift people that I care about, that I'm interested in creatively and respect, and just kind of be like, hey, check this out, because you really never know. You never know where it's going to land and how it's going to affect somebody else.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, you're right. Definitely.
Yeah, it's important. It really is. So keep pushing, man. Keep doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Just be like, hey, man, that's right. Check this out. Puerto Rico with the dead, baby. You don't even know.
Yeah, say what you got. What you got. I'm going to show you what I got here.
Yeah, exactly. What you know about Puerto Rico. Okay. What you know about it. All right. Well, let me ask you some food stuff here. Because I know it's been a while. Last time you were on, like we talked about a million different things. But culturally, like, what are some of your standout? Let's just stick with Puerto Rico. What are some of your standout favorites from our culture?
Oh, my favorite is alcapurria. Let me tell you, and I think maybe one of the reasons why it's my favorite because all those like little cuchifritos in the city closed.
Yes.
There's no more.
I know. I heard about all that.
And for you to go get it, and I travel from from the city to Long Island all the time, but now I'm mostly more out in the island now. And in the island, you can't find it.
Yeah.
You can't find no. You can actually find pasteles. You can find somebody that's gonna make it.
Right.
No one knows how or where to get an alcapurria.
Yeah.
And is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
You do you know how to make it? I mean, I'm just saying.
I do.
Oh, wow.
I sure do. Yeah, no. And because of, again, like you said, living out here on the West Coast, like people don't know what the hell cuchifritos are. Yeah. Like they don't. And because, no disrespect at all, but like California is basically Mexico. You know what I mean? Like everything is really Mexican driven, although there are pockets of Puerto Rican cuisine. There is a restaurant not that far from me that used to be a cloud kitchen that just opened into a brick and mortar space called Taínos, and they serve authentic Puerto Rican food. And I'm like, that's the next one.
If you can, it'd be perfect to explain how to make one. What would be the ingredients to go on, to make un alcapurria? Because if you ask me, hey, Hilton, make one. I'm like, I don't know how to make it. Like,
you know, I mean, the recipes that I've done and kind of segued off of either are yuca or plátanos, the green plantains, or a mix of both, as the outer part, and then the inside is very much like a picadillo. Like it's the ground beef, it's the, you know, the sofrito, and then your like adobo, sazon, and then, you know, peppers, like whatever else you want to add to it. I think everyone kind of has their own little recipe to it. I've had some that had like a touch of cinnamon in the filling. That was very interesting. Whoa. Yeah, like it brought out like a different kind of vibe with the meat in there. I was like, oh, okay.
You're making me hungry.
Woo. Yeah, I know.
Woo,
but
that's my favorite. That's one of my. Go ahead.
It's so hard to find though. It's so hard to find. So I usually just make it myself.
and it's funny because out here in the island they have a lot of Dominican spots. I eat a lot, you know, it's very similar, you know.
Yeah.
And so I go to a lot of Dominican spots, but you know, there are those typical Puerto Rican dishes that they're not going to have.
Yeah.
And you know, like, oh man, you know, it's like, so yeah, that to me is one, you know, like even going into the city, you could find like a Puerto Rican, but you know, like it's hard to find somebody that could make it or where they have it.
It's changed. I even heard that the spot up on 116th, the cuchifrito spot up there in Spanish Harlem, I heard the food kind of fell off there.
Yeah,
like it's not hitting the same anymore, and I'm like, oh, that's sad. That makes me sad. That was one of the go-tos.
That was a staple. Yeah. One. Yeah, all them closed out. You know, where I was in like Lower East Side and Delancey Street, the very popular one, if you remember right, by Pitt and all that, they closed. All of them are closed.
So
all
sad.
Of them closed.
So sad, man. But that's why, again, it's important to keep it alive. You know, like I really believe, like, you know, again, in storytelling, I like to tell stories through the food that I make. And, you know, at this point, like, I just feel like I'm not a niche, you know, chef. Like I just cook what I want because I've learned over the years how to do certain things. And, you know, but what I found over the past, you know, 5 or 6 years is I'm really like gravitating back towards the foods that I grew up with and the things that just kind of center me and those flavor profiles that I love. So when I created my spices, the first trio that came out was my adobo, sazon, and jerk, because, you know, Puerto Rican culture, and then we had the Jamaicans everywhere. So you had those scents that were in the air was something that I wanted to kind of capture and kind of help other people create that flavor. You know, there's a million spices, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like that's how I wanted to represent like what I was doing. So it was like my way of kind of keeping that alive. Like, so if you want to make this, just add these two things together. Adobo, sazon, they're like an old married couple, you know, they're better together, but they're spectacular on their own. So that was important to me. But yeah, like just kind of gravitate. Like I make pollo guisado all the time. And, you know, my daughter's on the spectrum. So getting her to eat certain foods is an accomplishment. And I made it for her last week. And I gave her, I kind of have to separate everything. Like everything can't be like really touching. So I had like the rice over here. And then in a bowl, I had the chicken and then all the vegetables together. And she ate the whole thing. She ate the whole thing. I was like, oh, Puerto Rican's been unlocked. I was so proud. I was like, that's right, girl. Because I mean, you can't help it. You know, like if it's in your blood, it's in your blood, right?
Yeah.
But like that's how you have to do it. You just have to keep making it, keep introducing it to people, and they'll like become interested, right?
Yeah, I mean, wow, haven't heard that in a while too. Because I used to have my aunt used to always cook, and she passed away. But I you know, I used to have always somewhere to go to make food and no more, you know, especially like I can tell you out here in the island, there's nothing. New York City's all gone. I mean, you could find it. Don't get me wrong. You could go. I know. You could still find it, but it's not. It was like back in the days. Remember, like
it was everywhere.
You will be at 2 a.m. You drive in your car.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it was everywhere. There was this great spot like down the street from where we lived in the Bronx, and for $5, you got this huge tin of, you know, beef stew with rice and beans that fed like everybody. You know, like that was the go-to all the time. And you just, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's so hard to find that kind of food, that kind of home cooking, you know, like you already know.
Oh,
you're like, damn, I want it all.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, do it. You're making me hungry.
It's so good. So good. But yeah.
I love it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's just.
Well, I say that what you need to do then, brother, is start creating some stuff, you know, keep those recipes alive, keep that lineage going. It's so important because it's part of our history. And that's another thing that most people are losing are those family recipes that really kind of galvanize us to where we're from. And, you know, at this point, even if you don't have an actual recipe, like you can figure it out. Like you kind of know like the base flavors that kind of go into it and come up with it yourself. And it's not as hard as most people think. If you could make a chicken soup, you can make pollo guisado. You can do it.
I believe flavor on that baby.
Yes, you can absolutely do it. What's like, okay, so let me ask you this. We'll wrap it up here because we're both getting hungry and we could go on and on now about the cuisine. But I don't know how your answers have changed to this one, but if you could describe yourself as a 3-course meal, an appetizer, entree, and dessert, what would you be and why?
Oh my God.
Yes. The question of all questions.
The questions of all questions.
Inquiring minds want to know.
I would say un rabito. I would say that because it's very intriguing. It's not a lot of people is going to want to taste it. Is going to want to experience it. But when they do, and they find out how good it is, how delicious it is,
right,
and how intriguing it is, I think that kind of describes who I am. I think a lot of people see me as like, oh, this guy's not really the guy that is that kind of artist, or oh, he's done that kind of stuff. He doesn't look like that kind of guy that creates stuff. But once they get to know me, they get to say, oh shit, this is the cat right here. You know what I mean? This guy got
you're like, I'm like a transformer baby, more than meets the eye. Okay,
coming, you get surprised,
right?
That's something that I think that if you're that's what you're talking about, describing what I would be, what dish.
Yeah, like if you could, like I always say, like if you could just spread yourself out on a table, like what would be your appetizer, what would be your entree, and what would be your dessert? Like how would that meal best describe you?
Yeah, I mean that's desserts. Oh man, I'm not really I'm not really that kind of like a dessert guy, café con leche,
Yeah, no, I mean, whatever it is, there's no wrong answer at all.
Yeah,
whatever
something
comes
like,
to mind.
that's like my favorite. So like un café con leche is, with cake with,
yes,
something like that.
I bought my Bustelo yesterday. I'll tell you that right now. She was on sale, and I said, "Yes, girl, let's go."
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, man, but when I drink that Bustelo, man, I'm like I'm gone. That let me tell you, I recommend it to so many people because I'm like, it will get you going.
Yeah.
In every way.
That's good. Yeah, absolutely. That would get you going crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that would be my dish. That would be, my desserts, my entree.
You're like, that's the whole thing, baby. Everything.
Yeah, right there. You could give me some I don't know, add some bacalao and
yeah.
You put some bacalao con,
yes.
Of course you got your rice and gandules, but all that con rabito.
Yeah.
Woo!
I feel like every time we ate, like even because my father's side is Colombian, so it was just kind of like death by food all the time. So it was just a complete platter of like, the devil's breakfast, the devil's lunch, the devil's dinner. You know what I'm saying? It was like starch, protein.
Yeah, you make it. Add some chicharrón also. Oh my God, I don't want to keep on going.
Yeah, man. It's like we're just like, let's bring on the heart attack. Yeah,
heart attack special here, baby.
We gotta do it. We can't help it. No, but it's good though. It makes sense because again, it's just you do have the element of surprise going for you, and I think that's something that you should continue to harness and capture and continue on with. You know what I mean? Like, looks can be deceiving. You know, you could look at somebody and think that they're one way and then discover that there's a whole world that you had no idea even existed underneath all that. And that's what I love about food and just the industry that we're in. It's like, if you look close enough, like you'll be pleasantly surprised at what you find.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me and coming back on the show.
Likewise.
I'm glad you came back for round 2.
Yeah. Anytime. I'll come around 3, 4.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. You have an open invitation always to the table, darling.
Love it,
absolutely.
love it.
And I'm so happy to see where Puerto Rico of the Dead is about to go. I'm super excited. I will be pimping it out as much as I can when I can.
Appreciate it.
Let's do this, man. Let's go. Let's keep at it. Let's encourage other people to do the same. You know, you got an idea that you're sitting on. Like, don't hesitate, man. Just do it. Who cares?
Yep,
Who cares?
I agree.
Just do it.
I agree.
Just put it out there. All right. So where can everybody find you and stalk you online?
I mean, I'm basically an all.
Here we go. Yeah.
I'm basically on all social medias, but if somebody really wants to, like, you know, hit me up, I would say I used to be big on Twitter. Like, I left Twitter with 250,000 followers. It's just like a shit show now.
It's crazy.
It's like a shit show now there, and it's like,
it's crazy.
I have, like, on both of my accounts, like 250,000 followers, and it just seems like it goes nowhere. It's like, you know, I had it for almost 15 years that and I built such a huge, you know, and then, you know, so I would say probably the best place, would probably be Instagram. Okay. YouTube also. I like, you know, people are interested, you know, you could always Google my name, or if you're interested in seeing any of my work, like, since we were in the zombie topic, you know, if they Google zombie with a shotgun, you'll see everything. Right. All from, you know, I have, you know, like a half a dozen films in Tubi, on Amazon, all the streaming services. You'll find at least 1 or 2 or 10 movies of mine.
Right.
So I have a lot of projects on different platforms. Yes. Yeah. I'll have some films in Plex that the other streaming service doesn't have. Right. Some on Amazon and vice versa. So you could always look and everything. So I would say just best probably thing would be, like, you know, Google me or just hit zombie with a shotgun. You get able to see everything. But if you're interested, Puerto Rico of the Dead, I just started a Instagram a week ago, but the same name, Puerto Rico of the Dead, and you can follow there and all the news and all the updates. And stay tuned for the release for we're looking for next week to release the book.
Well, yes. I will be one of the people helping you make the announcement. I'll be putting it out there and letting people know that she's ready. She's not the oven. She's ready to be served. Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And thank you all for hanging out with us. And we will see you in the next one. Meow, meow.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
La, la, meow, Puerto Rico of the Dead. Yeah.
Love it.
All right, let's go. And
you've been listening to the Mystic Meals Podcast. The Mystic Meals Podcast with your host and producer, Chef Nikki Meow. Kick-ass music by 3 Parts Acid. Follow 3 Parts Acid at 3 Parts Acid on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. The amazing artwork by Art by Bruce 13. Follow Art by Bruce 13 on Instagram. And I'm your voice with the most. I'm Jason Neer. This has been the Mystic Meals Podcast. The Mystic Meals Podcast, copyright 2026. See you next time, kids.